So good afternoon, everyone, and I welcome you all for this lecture number 8 on energy audit and management. We are into now module 3, and today's lecture is dedicated to what we have in module 3. So introduction of module 3. The outcomes of this session will be the students will be able to describe the energy performance evaluation of some common electrical installations and identify the energy saving opportunities. So basically, we are talking about electrical installations. To name a few, we have electrical installations like the lighting, the fan load, motor, pumps, transformers, etc. So this module 3 consists of three sections, by the way. So first is in the first part we have energy management and conservation in electrical system. Okay. So in that we have talked about, we will be talking about electricity billing, electrical load management and maximum demand control, power factor improvement, energy efficient equipments and appliances, and star rating. Out of this, we have already talked about electricity billing. Yes or no? So electricity billing means what are the terms involved in electricity bill, how they are calculated, how they are decided, who decides the billing criteria, who is called as a what we can say the power supplier. Okay, so in electrical load management and maximum demand control, we will be talking about how the electricity load is managed, how it is calculated for the entire day, for the entire year, on the plant side, on the demand side. Okay, then power factor improvement means how the appliance works, how much power it draws from the utility. We will talk about that in power factor improvement. Then energy efficient equipments and appliances, we talked about a fan, conventional fan we used to have was able to consume 60 to 70 watt from the grid, but there are energy efficient equipments or energy efficient fans are available which consumes around 24 watt of power. And we have also talked about one assignment on that. Regarding the queries related to assignments, we will discuss at the end of the lecture. Okay, and star rating program offered by BEE. Then the second part of module 3 talks about energy efficiency measures in lighting system and lighting control, in which we will talk about occupancy sensors, daylight integration, use of intelligent controllers. This is more of towards the instrumentation students. Okay, so we will discuss about how this occupancy sensor will result into energy saving. Daylight integration will result into energy saving. How the efficiency can be increased by using some controllers. Okay. Then third part of the module 3 will talk about energy conservation opportunities in water pumps, industrial drives, induction motors, then motor retrofitting, soft starters, and variable speed drives. So most of the time we will, or we can say the major portion of module 3 is this. Even though it looks like only six components, but each component, you see water pumps are there in chemical industry, in textile industry, in our residential buildings, hotels, airports, everywhere. Industrial drives you see in chemical industries. Then you have industrial drives in some process industries like dairy industry, HVAC system. Induction motors you have in traction motors, right? So motor retrofitting, in some places you require motor retrofitting, how it can be done, what are the methods. Then soft starters, VFD, variable frequency drive, variable speed drives. Okay, so anybody came across these terms earlier in your previous semesters? I am asking this because how much time I should spend on these topics, it will depend upon your answer. So have you come across these terms in previous semesters? Anybody? But this, what I say is water pumps. You must have come across the water pumps, the normal pump, centrifugal pump, reciprocating pump, right? Some of them. Okay, no problem. So that is why, see, what I have done is the energy management and conservation in electrical system will be spending 2 hours, and energy efficiency measures in lighting system, lighting control, 3 hours, and major portion or major time we will spend on the third part of the module 3. Is it okay? So let us begin with the first part, that is energy management and conservation in electrical system. We talked about electrical billing, electricity billing we have done. I want you to just recall what all things you remember today related to electricity billing. So we have discussed this earlier. So I want some terms from you that we have discussed up till now. Some revision related to electricity billing. Anybody? Fixed cost, fuel cost, transmission cost. Yes. Anybody else? Other than this, yes, fixed charges, LT and HTS, low tension consumer, high tension consumer, tariff structure is different. Moratorium charges, no. Time of day tariff, anybody recall? Time of day tariff, maximum demand, contract demand. Yes, you remember? Wheeling charges, yes. Transmission and distribution charges, wheeling charges, service tax, service charges, power factor incentives. Yes or no? So all these things we have discussed in, you can refer to previous lectures to understand what is electricity billing. Then, yes, electrical load management and maximum demand control is what we will be talking today. Okay. Then tomorrow we will talk about, or the next lecture we will talk about power factor improvement, energy efficient equipments and appliances, and star rating. So today entire thing we will talk about electrical load management and maximum demand control. Okay. So anybody has any idea about this maximum demand control? What can be the, what is the need for electrical load management? Can anybody tell me? So you see, the basic cycle through which you get the electricity is shown over here. So you see there is a generation. It can be coal-based power plant, oil-based power plant, nuclear power plant. So this will become our fuel. So fuel is supplied to power plant. This power plant will generate electricity, chemical to electrical energy transformation. This electricity will be stored in substation. So not, we cannot say literally by the term called as storing, but it will just divert the power generated from power plant, from substation. It will go to transmission and distribution lines. Then it will again come to substation. So example, we have Koina power plant, which is in Kolhapur. So Koina power plant will have its own substation. From that substation, we will have 33,000 voltage transferred from that substation to our substation. Let us say Vasai. So east we have substation. From our college we can see that substation, right? So that substation will again take that power at around 11,000 volt or 22,000 volt. Then this 22,000 volt will be supplied to our by power lines to our place, where we have the transformer which will convert it into 415 volts step down, we say. So step down transformers are there which will receive 11,000 volt. and convert it into 415 volt. Okay, so this 415 volt will now be taken by our will be taken by our utility in our we can say red box that we have in our building premises. Then that will again have three phases which are divided into 240 240 volts, 215 215 volts. These 215 or 240 volts will be now taken into the customers or household. Okay, this is clear for the cycle. The second one is how they are charged, how we will be charged for energy. So there is an energy meter. Now that energy meter will take the maximum demand. How it is calculated? Maximum demand is not instantaneous. It is not calculated for the entire day. It is instantaneous. That means what it will be calculated over a period of some time. So as example, in an industry, if the draw power over a recording cycle of 30 minutes is 2500 kVA for 4 minutes, 3600 kVA for 12 minutes. See, the term kVA, that is kilovolt ampere, is equal to kilowatt. But this is the energy term. Energy term, when we talk about the voltage into ampere, it will become the energy term. Multiplied by time, then it will become the power term. Okay, so this is for 4 minutes, this is for 12 minutes, and we will, so the maximum demand recorder will be computing a maximum demand as this way. So you can expect a small question of say 2 marks or 3 marks, how to calculate. So I will be giving you the values of this kVA for this many minutes, and you will, and will be asked to calculate what will be the total maximum demand for that particular utility. Okay, so this is the maximum demand. So it will be charged at this rate, this value. If this value is for entire year, if this is the value, then the industry will go for contract with the supplier. That, so that is called as a contract demand. So maximum demand is 3606 and contract, let us say it is 4000 kVA. So I make a contract with the supplier or distributor that 4000 is my contract demand. I will not use more than this. What is the advantage that the supplier will get? Like all industries are now giving their contract demand, it will be better for the distribution company to design their power plant in such a way that they will have a prior idea of how much electricity will be taken from this zone, because everyone is having a contract demand. Yes or no? Right? So contract demand makes or gives advantage to supplier companies or distributor companies to beforehand design their power plant. Now they know that this much amount of electricity is needed by that industry. So even though their maximum demand is less, they will be charged at that contract demand. You understood the difference between maximum demand and contract demand? So now let us assume this scenario that contract demand is 4000 kVA and some 15 minutes time the industry has surpassed this contract demand. Is it the case that the supplier will not supply the additional amount of demand to the industry? It will supply, but it will charge more amount, more cost will be associated with that additional amount, which is called as a peak demand. Okay, it will be called as a peak demand. So you see that if I, so this is a typical demand curve we see. The demand interval is shown over here, which is a 4 minute, then 12 minutes, 6 minutes, and 8 minutes. And this is the demand for that particular time. So it is averaged. This is also average value. 2500 kVA is an average value for 4 minutes. 3600 is an average value for 12 minutes, and so on. So here you see at this point of time, it is peak demand. So all such area under the curve will be called as a load. Okay. All such area under the curve will be called as a load, and this curve is also called as a load curve. When the x-axis is showing the time interval in seconds, in minute, in days, in months, in year. So if it is a for one day, it will be called as a daily load curve. For month, it will be monthly load curve and yearly load curve. Okay. So this is what power drawn and this is what time. So you see load curve also, what is significance of load curve? It shows me the pattern of consumption. What is the pattern? So it is possible for you also to draw your or to form your load curve. A typical load curve will be a crest and a peak and again a trough. Okay. So for your household, that means in the morning there will be peak, in the afternoon there will be a drop, and in the evening also there will be peak, and night time it will be low. It will not be zero. So that if it is not zero, so the minimum, see if I draw a line from this point to this point, there is a continuous requirement of this much power. Yes or no? There is a continuous requirement of power. So we say that, that is called as a base load. Base load. Okay, base load. And this will be a peak load. Right? So moving further, you have seen that how the demand curve is there, what is the meaning of maximum demand, and so on. But what is the need for electrical load management? You see here, there is a region-wise power supply position and peak demand for the financial year 2019, 18, 19. So there is a, see, percentage surplus or shortage. If it is negative, it is a shortage. If it is positive value, it is a surplus. So power supply position shown in orange color and gray color shows peak power deficit. So power supply position, supply is low, we are not able to supply. On top of that, there is a peak power also deficit. Okay. So in northern region, so there were 4 zones already. So now it is a single grid, single zone. But see that when we bifurcate this, you see northeastern region. Northeastern region is the highest. It is a region wherein we are having very low power supply. Okay. Also, peak power deficit is very high, minus 3.9. All India, if I want to talk about, so this curve, in the next slide, I will show you that this curve, the pattern is increasing or decreasing, that I will show. Okay. Definitely it is decreasing. Okay. But then some other thing is happening, that also we will discuss. Let us look at this trends in thermal and renewable energy capacity addition. So here we are talking about need for electrical load management. Here we are talking about is first thing that we have to discuss is the power supply and the shortage is there. That is why there is a need for electrical load management. We should manage the load properly so that each and every country or each and every region of our country will be supplied with surplus amount of energy, or there should not be any deficit, shortage of energy. Okay, that is why we should go for electrical load management. Second criteria for going for electrical load management is what is the capacity addition till now. You see, renewable energy gain momentum in the first quarter of 2017, gradually decreased. Second, so in 2017 to 2018, there is a drop of capacity addition of renewable energy. In 2018, it got reduced. In 2019 also there is reduction in capacity addition. Capacity addition means how much new projects you are installing in that particular domain. Say thermal, 3.2 gigawatt in first quarter of 2017. In second quarter, 2.2. In third quarter, negative. What is the meaning of this? How it can become negative? It should be zero. Or why it is showing negative? Can anybody throw light on this? How capacity addition is showing negative value? Anybody? Closed. See, the capacity addition is planned before starting of the year, right? Yeah, some already existing projects got damaged or no. See, what happens is, uh, it is, say for example, Bhagyesh decides that in this coming year, I will increase my capacity of reading books by 10%. That means earlier I was reading 100 books. Now I will read 110 books in this year. This is the proposed. Depending upon the previous trends, you propose that I will be reading 110 books now in this year. So that 10 books, additional 10 books, you differentiate quarter wise. In the first quarter, I will read 2 books. In the third quarter, I will read 3 books. And in the next quarter, I will read 5 books. Okay. But as per plan, you are not able to read 5 books in the last quarter. You are able to read only 3. So you are negative. Okay. Capacity addition didn't take place. That is the meaning of this. Okay. This is the meaning of this particular trend. Similarly, in 2017 happened and 2018 also. Various reason for this is also plant load factor. Why the capacity addition didn't take place is because of the plant load factor. What do you mean by plant load factor? Plant load factor is a measure of average capacity utilization of a plant. We have taken here a thermal power plant ka explanation. So you see the plant load factor of the central sector was down to 60% in November. Is 60% is good or 42% is good? As per your knowledge, what is the if higher value is good or lower value is good? Plant load factor. Please answer in the chat section. Question is, according to you, plant load factor should be lower or should be higher? Lower value is considered to be good or higher value is considered to be good? Okay, right. Yes. What about others? Only 5, 6. I want everyone to participate. Whatever you feel, please type. Okay. Now let us understand. Now let us understand what do you mean by plant load factor. Plant load factor is a measure of average capacity utilization of any plant. How it is calculated? Say my capacity of the power plant is 10 megawatt. Okay, 10 megawatt, and the plant is utilized for 7 megawatt. So 7 divided by 10 is the value, which is 70%. Okay, so are you getting the idea? So 70% is the plant load factor. Actually, it should give me 10 megawatt, but it is giving me 7 megawatt because of several reasons. Okay, so let us see here. This is the plant load factor for various years. In 2009-10, plant load factor have all by considering, see, the sector wise plant load factor means there are power plants at the central level, which is NTPC. Okay, NTPC is a central power plant. State power plants, let us say Tata Power, it has set up its own power plant. Okay, so that is a state. And private. So state means Maharashtra state, Maharashtra Energy Development Agency, or MSEDCL, MSEB has set up one plant, that is a state liability. And private means Tata Power, Reliance Power, thermal power plant, private power plants are there. So these are the plant load factors for this, and average is 77.5 in 2009-10. So now you see there is a considerable drop in the plant load factor. In 2021, 50% average plant load factor is 50%. That means my capacity is 100 megawatt, but I am getting only 5 megawatt on an average. How it is calculated? So this is the 200, say for example, there is a 200 megawatt plant which is running for 24 hours, but this 4 hours is the plant is not running for 4 hours. See, 4 hours there is no load, whereas first 4 hours there is a 100 load. From 8 a.m. to for 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. there is a 200. Gradually it is increased to 200 megawatt of power it is giving. From 8 to 12, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. it is giving me 200 megawatt of power. Again there is a decrease from 12 to 16, and then again zero becomes at zero from 20 to 24. So this is the load on the power plant. Okay, so you see that it is capable of supplying 200 megawatt, but it is not running at its full capacity. So it is not getting utilized. Plant load factor, plant utilization factor. Capacity is 200, but we are not able to utilize it properly due to several reasons. So more is good. Understood? So again, if I ask you the same question in the chat section, now whether you have understood the concept of plant load factor, what is your answer now? Whether it is low or whether it should be more? Correct. Now you got it. Okay, so plant load factor means how we are having capacity, but it is not getting utilized, right? So what was the reason? What was the reason? Coal India Limited is a government body. Coal India Limited. What Coal India Limited does? It is into production of coal. It is into production and distribution of coal. Production fell 10.3% year on year in August 2019, owing to lower production at its subsidiaries. Western Coalfields Limited down 26.4% year on year. Mahanandi Coalfields, these are all subsidiaries of Coal India Limited, CIL. Mahanandi Coalfields Limited down by 26.8%, and Southeastern Coalfields down by 17.7%. MCL's production, Mahanandi Coalfields production, which contributes over 20% to CIL production, declined on account of protest at its Talcher mine in Odisha. So you see the impact of protest at some place in Odisha affected the plant load factor. That means we have capacity, but we are not able to generate. Okay, we are not able to generate. That is why this deficit will come. This deficit will come. This deficit will come. That is why this shortage will come. Understood this? So actions leads to impact. Whatever your actions are there, even if small action you do, it is impacting the country, it is impacting the global scenario, country scenario as well as global scenario. You understood this, how I related the impact, small impact. This news might you have not seen this news. heard this news on television, 2019 latest, but this resulted into your over. Probably most of the citizens are unaware of these things happening, and they say that electricity is not there, load shedding is there, we are not getting proper electricity, there is increase in cost, coal is not there, this is not there. So but what is the main reason? That doesn't come out. Okay, so you should keep your eyes and ears open to see what happens in the area near you. Okay, right. Excuse me for this not so clear image, but then I have.
Sir, please repeat PLF once again.
Okay, so see, uh, plant load factor is average power drawn by that power plant or generated by that power plant divided by the maximum power it can generate. So example, 140 megawatt of energy is generated by the power plant, and maximum it can go up to 200 megawatt. So plant load factor will become 140 divided by 200, that is 70%. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any doubt for anyone? So now you feel that there should be need for electrical load management. So the point I wanted to explain here, the point I wanted to explain here is the need for electrical load management. Is clear for everyone? Correct.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let's move further. This is the maximum demand control. Basically, I told you that maximum demand can be controlled. So the first thing that we do for electrical load management is the maximum demand control. Maximum demand control. Demand side management usko bolte hain. So you must have heard this term, demand side management, demand side management. So, and in the previous lecture also I told you that one unit generated, one unit saved is equal to 2 unit generated. You remember that? Okay, 1 unit saved at the consumer level will be 2 units at the saved at the generation level. So we have to target the demand side management. Demand side management is done this way. It is the main feed or disconnect that we have. Okay, we have the main substation in our college. You see that this is a powerhouse. We will visit when the college reopens. We will visit this unit. From here, the power is distributed. Okay, now we have to just put a utility meter or pulse output meter. Then there is a demand controller which will distribute the power to different section. This is one unit. Okay, so this unit will see that how much power is being utilized, and it will do the following things. That means remotely it will monitor, and it will supply only that much power which is required for the utilities. Otherwise what will happen if this equipment is not working, you know that if the motor is not working and if the power supply is there, it will still consume some power which is called as a no load power. Yes or no? So if your TV, you put it off by your remote and the switch is not off, there is some power being taken by the television. Yes or no? Even if the television is not on, that is called as a no load power. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the maximum demand controller will sense that with the help of the pulse meter, it will sense and it will try to shut down the utilities or lower the consumption of the utilities by sensing that whether it is crossing the contract demand or not. So maximum demand, we have to feed the value that okay, this is my maximum demand, it should not go higher than that, because there is a huge penalty for maximum demand cross. If you cross the maximum demand limit, there is a huge penalty. So this is automatic demand controller, maximum demand controller, automatically it is done. So as an energy manager, energy auditor, you have to understand the working of this device, the demand controller. Okay. What are the other options? Load curve generation. What do you mean by load curve? I talked about this earlier. Load curve is nothing but the amount of energy consumed will be shown on y-axis and on
Hello,
the
sir.
x-axis. Sorry.
Sir, if the limit reach maximum, the machine shuts down automatically. Previous.
See, yeah. What happens, the device will sense how much power, actual power is required by that device. Sometimes what happens, even if the capacity, say for example, you are building a residential building, how many floors?
8 floors.
8 floors. So there is a pump
Yes.
house.
Yes.
What is the capacity of that pump? Let us
That.
say 10 HP.
Okay.
So 10 HP is capable. 10 HP is capable of pumping the water to 10 floor building, 10 story building. You are having 8-story building.
Yes.
Okay. So that pump becomes oversized for you.
Okay.
So if I want to reduce the consumption of that motor, what I will do, depending upon the demand requirement of the building, let us say I will install 2 water tanks, one
Okay.
at terrace and one at the height of 5 floors. I will make some arrangement so that 5th floor I will have some tank. Okay. So I'll mute your yeah. So there are 2 tanks now. Understand the scenario for explaining the maximum demand scenario. Understand that there are now 2 tanks, and earlier my pump was 10 HP. Now I can have 2 HP motors situated at this place. Okay, the 5-story building, 5th floor tank and 10th floor tank. Now what I will do is a 5th floor tank I will fill it up, and if there is no requirement of water on the top floors, I will not pump the water. Okay. And if there is a requirement on the if there is no requirement on the 5th floor, the 5 floors below, then water will be stored at the 5 floor, and it will require lesser power to pump from 5th floor to terrace. Now this sensing and all these things will be done by this maximum demand controller. Okay, and it will sense that how much power or how much water is required at each and every floor, each and every room, and depending upon that it will work. Now it is not necessary for me to always pump water to terrace and then supply it to everyone. It may be possible that the requirement of water will be different at different floors, different at different flats. So depending upon that, whenever it is required, then I will put up the water. 5th floor I will make a bigger tank, and terrace I will make a smaller tank. Right? Double the capacity on the 5th floor. So I will make my 5th floor full, and whenever required, from 5th floor to 8th floor, the water requirement at that time I will pump the water with a lower capacity pump. Let us say 3 HP. So 3 HP my work will be done in 6 HP. 4 HP will be saved. So this is called as maximum demand control. Wherever the demand is there, that particular utility will be on, but not on at all times. Example, in our building, if I want to give in our college, let us say there is a 2 practical session going on in mechanical department as well as in instrumentation department. Mechanical department is having a practical session on Pelton turbine, which requires a centrifugal pump to operate. At the same time, instrumentation department also have some experiments, say Francis turbine. There also centrifugal pump will be required. Just giving an example. So this sensor will sense and it will schedule the load. Scheduling of the load. You understand? First, load curve generation will be there. It will sense how much is the load from this time to this time. And the load rescheduling of the loads will be taken place by the device. And it will schedule and it will say that 9 to 10 mechanical is having practical. So I sense and I tell you the suggestion that you shift the instrumentation department practical from 11 to 12 so that there will be a constant load and there will be not be peak load at that particular time. Understood this example, Sahil?
Yes, sir.
Understood this, everyone? Everyone understood this concept of maximum demand control. So maximum demand control doesn't talk about just only for load curve generation, but it also talks about rescheduling of loads, and rescheduling of loads can be done by peak clipping. Peak clipping. What do you mean by peak clipping? Whenever there is a peak load, I just give you an example that if mechanical and instrumentation are doing, so you see seminar is organized at the same time. So the maximum demand will also sense it and tell that seminar should not be scheduled at that time because it will result into peak load. So you shift the seminar on this time because there is no load over there. Maybe recess time wherein all the labs are closed. Are you getting the idea? So peak clipping, then valley filling. Valley filling means what? Whenever there is a lag, then also the maximum demand will go down and my utility will not be, because your load is going down, still you will be charged with that amount, the fixed charges. So it is better that you keep your load curve as flat as possible without any fluctuations for the entire day. Yes or no? The gardening of the plants can be done at the evening time after college hours, because at that time water evaporation rate will also be low. If you water the plants in the morning, afternoon time the water will get evaporated faster and plants will not get the required amount of water. On the other hand, if you water the plants in evening time, at the night evaporation rate is low and this water will be retained and the plant will be getting water for the entire night time. Yes or no? So these are the small, I told you, actions relate to impact, right? So these small actions or behavioral changes should be inculcated in the organization so that it will result into energy conservation. Third thing which we can do in the maximum demand control is storage of products or in process material, process utilities like refrigeration. Milk can be processed at the night time when there is no load or there is zero load, and at the time we can utilize the time of tariff where the time of tariff is low. At that time I can do the processing of the milk which require large amount of electricity or energy. Then in the daytime I can just do packing and storing and distributing. So that is why you see milk is required early in the morning, so production is done at night, and at 4 o'clock the vehicles leave taking the milk pouches to different sections or different areas, and in the morning you get it. So temperature of that milk is maintained at -6 degree, so that when it reaches to you it will become +4 degree. Okay, so but whether you are getting at +4 degree temperature, definitely not. Whenever you take that milk pouches to you, it is around 16 degree 15 degree temperature where the milk will not get spoiled. But once it reaches the room temperature, it will get spoiled. So that is why at the generation point it is maintained at -6 degree. Then in the process, in the transportation, it reaches to 4 degree. Then when it reaches to shops, it will again go to 15 degree, and then you will get it at that temperature. So maybe refrigeration like utilities you can inculcate in your place, so that whenever the time of day tariff is implemented at the lower cost, you can go for the process. Then shedding of non-essential loads. You make a list of non-essential loads in your house, in your organization. This is non-essential. It should not be there. Say, for example, in a room, there are 2 lights. Okay, so you put one light or put reflector in such a way that the requirement of the other light will not be there. So shedding of non-essential loads. So this much is there from my side. Whatever questions you have, you can now discuss related to this topic. Any difficulty? Rahul is saying even pesticides. I didn't get it. Please elaborate. Rahul? On plant example. Yes. Okay. Right. So anybody would like to summarize what you have learned from this lecture today? Anybody would like to summarize? Not participating person, I will just find out. Okay. Not participating.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, can you please explain the part again why the plant load factor is decreasing over these years?
Yeah. Okay. So yes.